Welcome back to No Pat Sports Talk. We are coming to you live. Well, I guess it won't be live now when you guys hear it, but it's live for us on a Sunday, 12/7, right? So we have the winter meetings underway down in Florida. There's going to be a lot of rumors coming out, and I'm sure a lot of big trades happening during the winter meetings. So we have a lot to talk about. There's going to be a ton of stuff down there, and there's already some rumors coming out. So we definitely have to cover those rumors. So sorry, guys, I'm getting a cold, and I can't breathe through my nose right now. So I'm pushing through it. Sorry if you get a little bit of a mouth breathing going on, but okay, here we go. Down in Florida, there's been two big pieces of news that I really want to share right off the get, right? No burying the lead, no burying nothing. We're going to go right at it. First thing is talking about Skubal. There was a high...
It's obviously a big thing to talk about since it's here in Detroit.
Oh, yeah, exactly, right? But it's probably the biggest news any Tigers fans wants to know is what's happening with Skubal. So, with that being said, there was some information that came out. It was from a GM from another team, not the Tigers, and he said that if you would have asked him, say, 3 months ago or whatever, he would have said Skubal's not going in. Now he kind of retracted it and said that he believes that's Skubal will be traded. The Tigers are looking for a very large package for Skubal, and that many teams right now, the word coming out is they want to improve their pitching staff. Like that's where they want to improve, and it's a lot of teams saying that. So if you get a lot of teams wanting pitching, Skubal's available, best pitcher in baseball, arguably. I know you can make a case for both Yamamoto and Paul Skeens specifically.
Well, 2 Cy Youngs in a row.
Yep, but same thing with Skeens.
That's true.
So, okay. So with that being said, right, as Tigers fans, as a Tiger fan, how do I feel about the news that right now the thought process is Skubal's not going to be with the team in 26, and I think it has a lot to do with what we get in return for Skubal. We were kind of talking a little bit before we came into make the video here, and my thought process is this: I do not think that Scott Harris and company believes that the Tigers are ready to win it all now. Okay, I get it. I know we got the playoffs 2 years in a row. I know we came close, but I just don't think they believe that we're ready. And I have nothing to go on off this. This is a gut feeling I have. I mean, if you think about it, since Scott Harris has been here, none of his draft picks are in the majors right now. So this team is not his team yet. So I think that Scott Harris is going to wait until some of his draft picks, like McGonigal, Clark, etc., kind of get into the team and playing before he believes they'll be ready to win. And I think a lot of us has to see the way that the Tigers struggled to hit is a big reason why we're not ready to win now. And a lot of the players that we have coming up are those types of players. They are, more contact-oriented guys, gap hitters. Yes, they can hit the long ball, but that's not what they're known for. They're going to put the bat on the ball, drive it in the gaps, get extra base hits. And that works well in Comerica. So I think that's what Scott Harris is waiting on. So with that being said, I don't think they signed Skubal. I think they want to sign Skubal, but I think Skubal's going to want too many years, and they don't want to get stuck in a situation where you're paying a 38-year-old pitcher that's currently already has 2 Tommy John surgeries. It's very possible he could have a third in the next, 8-10 years, the next contract, right? Can he come back from 3? There's a lot of assumptions we have to make about all this. But when you have that much money invested in one guy, one player, you have to make sure that the one guy, the one player is going to be able to produce, because otherwise that's going to handicap you financially to sign anyone else. And the last thing I'll say about this, and the reason why I think it's in the Detroit's best interest to trade Skubal, is let's say you get 4 prospects for Skubal that's MLB ready right now. Okay, or maybe 1 year behind, but let's call it 4. For the amount of money Skubal wants, you can then turn around and sign 2 all-star caliber players in other positions. So by trading Skubal, using the money you would use to sign him, again, average annual value, to sign 2 other all-star players, you got 6 players on your team for the price of 1. 4 of which are going to be team controllable for years to come. This is why I think it makes the most sense to sign or to trade Skubal and use that money for other players in other positions.
Yeah. Because we're still hurt. Like, I know McGonigal he's going to get his opportunity to make the club in spring training. At least I assume, right? He'll have that chance. But we're still looking
others.
But between second base, shortstop, and third base, like, we're still trying to figure out who those players are.
I think you can take it a step further, honestly.
Okay.
Right now, I don't think we know who our center fielder is.
Okay.
Right? I mean, I'm still a fan of Parker Meadows. I still think Parker Meadows can turn it around. I mean, based on what? Again, it's a gut feeling. And it's not to say that he would. So, once again, we don't know who our center fielder is. Our second baseman for this year is going to be Gleyber Torres because he signed as QO.
That's right.
So
I forgot that they signed him.
Aside from the QO from Torres, we don't know anything beyond 26 for second base. Baez, I don't think you can count on him to continue being any sort of help offensively. I've seen a lot of video of him recently, still taking batting practice, still trying to refine his swing, still trying to get it back. And I admire his work and dedication. I really do. He's not giving up. He's not putting his head down. He's not saying, I don't have it no more. He is working, and all the credit due to him should go to him for that.
Yeah. And he had some moments this year.
Of course he did.
Right.
Yeah,
and you got to think, well, he showed improvement. Those that have watched him over the contract he's had with the Tigers, it was hard for him to get worse.
Right.
Right.
He's been really bad.
Correct. So having that, he showed the improvement, the flexibility to move positions too. I think he played some third base. I know he played some center field, but just, trying to become that utility guy maybe a little bit, move him around so we can get him in the lineup. It was good to have.
So it was good to have him defensively. I mean, he was an all-star as a center fielder, which was nice. But look, and the biggest hole of all is third base. We was hoping Jace Young could do it, but so far he can't hit out of a wet paper bag. He's still struggling a lot. In the past, we've had a litany of guys over there, like Veerling and stuff like that too. It's been 3 or 4 guys manning third base. So and Riley Green, I don't expect him to go anywhere, but all I want to say is nobody really likes the fact that he is striking out at an incredible rate, right?
Yeah.
And then of course you got Torkelson. Same thing. He's gonna get you 30 bombs a year, but his on base percentage, his ability to make consistent contact, just isn't there either.
Correct.
So when you take a real hard look at this roster, I still think you can pencil in Riley Green and you got to pencil in Torkelson. I'm not saying those guys shouldn't play, or nothing like that. But I'm saying there's holes everywhere on this team.
Correct. There really is. And it wasn't, I think some of the holes we saw is due when we had injuries and there was nobody to fill the spot, right? And we're trying to bring people up from the minors out of AAA. Was tough.
There's a lot of that, but it wasn't just the injuries. Even the guys that you wanted to count on, the meat of your order, Torkelson and Green, right? Even Torres was up there for a little while at the top of the order, and Torres had a great half of the season in 25.
Carpenter.
Kind of, came back down to earth, and there could be some injuries, stuff like that, but he still came back down. I guess that's the whole point. There wasn't one person on this team that you could reliably count on that when he got up to the plate that he'd get on base.
No, it was like somebody every game, right? Or there wasn't a consistent person.
And you also didn't have a lot of consistent contact, a lot of striking out. So look, I think I'm saying all this again just to sit there and say Tigers aren't ready. They need better quality bats. They need better offense, and really in a lot of places better defense. And so here's my proposal for Skubal. I think right now the Mets make the most sense to me. They have the prospects to give up that fits a need for Detroit. The Mets don't want to give up their 2 big prospects, and McLean and Binge, and I understand that. But they still have such a deep prospect pool that I think the Tigers can still get what they need from the Mets without going after the top 2 prospects. And the Mets also have the desire to get a frontline starter. They need someone like a Skubal, and they're in win-now mode, right? So, and it just matches up to, and they will pay Skubal, right? If they give up that many prospects for Skubal, they're going to pay him and keep him around for a little while. So my proposal as to the Mets would be this. I would take Jet Williams and Jonah Tong, their 3rd and 4th ranked prospects. Now, Carson Binge is a left-hitting outfielder. We have so many left-handed hitting outfielders. I just don't think that he fits. He's a great player, but they're not going to want to give him up anyways. So I'm not going to argue with him about it when we already have so many other left-hitting outfielders. Fine, keep him. right? They're not going to give up McLean. McLean looks like he's going to be a potential ace in the future. You're not going to give up an ace in the future with team control for so many years for an ace now. Again, that's not going to happen. They're going to want to use McLean with Skubal. Okay, fine. So give me Jet Williams, who can play the outfield, shortstop, or second base. Again, he's one of those guys, utility guys. And on top of that, he doesn't really have a lot of power, but he's got pretty good bat to ball skills. I'm not going to sit there and try to sell you that he is he's great bat to ball skills, but he's pretty good bat to ball skills. And he's fast. And that's something that the Tigers haven't done a lot. They haven't done a lot of base stealing. So Jet Williams will give you that ability to have a threat on base when he gets on base. Jonah Tong, the pitcher, the fourth prospect, he had a little bit of time in the major leagues last year. And he pitched to a 2-3 record. His ERA was 7.71. But I'm not worried about that. You know, to me, it's more about what he showed, the stuff that he showed, right? He only pitched 18 innings. And I like his stuff. And I think that our pitching coaches could help develop him pretty quick. And I think he can be a plug-and-play pitcher for us in 26. Now, he might be like down in like our fifth starter maybe, something like that. But he could start for us, right? The other prospect I was thinking of, this is where I'm going to lose a lot of people because not a lot of people know about this guy. But his name is Dylan Ross. He's a 6'5" pitcher. He has a 7-foot wingspan to release the ball, you know, so he's 7 feet closer to home plate. He's a monster dude. He can throw triple digits, so, you know, he can throw 102 miles an hour. And what I like about him is he pairs his fastball, which is his best pitch, with a splitter, which is a second best pitch. So a fastball on a splitter. And again, I'm not looking at this guy to be a starter. I want him to be a reliever, right? We need relievers that have swing and miss potential. We don't have that right now currently. So we need someone that can get more than, we can bring him in a high pressure situation, you know, guys on second or third, one out, and he's able to strike out the batter, you know, so there's no sacrifice fly, you know, none of that kind of stuff going on, right? We need somebody for a reliever that can get strikeouts. He was in AAA last year. Now, he had a delay to a season because of some injuries, okay? So about last year, he flew through the Mets organization. He started in A, went to AA and AAA. He had 26 games pitched in AAA for a total of 32 innings. In those 32 innings, he had 39 strikeouts. Wow. Now, he also had 22 walks, which is a problem. But again, I believe in our pitching staff to be able to help fix that. And so I think that this guy has a great potential to be a good reliever in the league. Yeah. He has the reliever stuff. He's got 2 really good pitches, and then his slider is a plus pitch as well. It's not as good as a splitter or his fastball, but it could still work in the Major League Baseball right now. So you got a 3-pitch reliever. That's awesome. I'm good with that. He just needs to learn control. He throws hard. He just needs control. And I think we can fix that. Now, the fourth player I'd want from the Mets. This is where I think the Mets would probably push back a little bit. But as we know, we don't have a third baseman. I want Brett Baty. There, I said it. I want Brett Baty. So at one time, Brett Baty was a top 10 prospect in all of baseball. And he had a lot of problems adapting to major leagues. It's not like he came right in and set the league on fire, right? He had a tough time. He had negative WAR his first 2 seasons on the Mets. Okay, his first season on the Mets, which was only 11 games, only batted at 184. Second season, we had 108 games played. He only batted 212. Okay, so again, not great. So in his age 24 season, which is also in 2024, he made a small leap, right? But again, he only had 50 games because they kept him in AAA a lot trying to redevelop this guy. Last year in 25 is when he really took off. He played 130 games. He had a 254 batting average, on base of 313. So again, not killer, but he also had only 18 home runs, so he's not a big home run guy, but he had a 435 slugging and a 748 ops. 748 ops ain't too bad right now. But the main thing is he's a pretty decent fielding third baseman. So that fills the gap in our third base. So we got 4 players that we can get in return for Skubal if Mets accept it. That fills a utility guy in Jet Williams, gives us a starter in Jonah Tong, gives the reliever with swing and miss potential, and then again, we got this Brett Beatty, third base. Like I think that's a good return. Now to go along with that, another rumor. Excuse me, I'm sorry. Like I said, I can't breathe. To go along with that, there is a rumor right now that a international free agent might just sign with Detroit. So let's take a look at this. The best pitcher on the market, starting pitcher on the market right now for international free agents is Tetsuya Imai from Japan, of course. He's 28 years old, and he's not going to the Dodgers. He already stated that he wants to go against the Dodgers. He wants to beat the Dodgers. He kind of has that, that competitiveness, wanting to beat the best, and I love that too.
Sure. Yeah.
Now, there's a lot of talk about him going to the Yankees, but again, insiders are saying that Detroit actually has a chance to sign this guy. The interest there is real. So if we can get MI, he's 28 years old. He's going to cost a pretty penny. But again, like I said, if we trade Skubal, we can use part of the money we were going to use, to pay Skubal to pay someone else. And this could be our new frontline starter in MI.
Could be that guy.
In 2 years, back-to-back years now, he's kept his ERA below 2.5 in the Japanese league. Last year, he threw to a 1.92 ERA, had 178 strikeouts and 163 innings. So, again, he has a little bit of swing and miss stuff. He has a 95-mile-an-hour fastball that tops out around 99. And just like most Japanese pitchers, he has a splitter to go along with it. Again, I love that combo because the arm motion stays the same.
Right.
It fools a lot of hitters. So,
and there we go. Don't know what they're teaching them over there in Japan with that splitter move, but man, they are nasty.
They are nasty. So let's just say, again, hypothetically, you trade Skubal, hypothetically, get those 4 players to the Mets, and then hypothetically sign Imai. Like, I don't know. To me, I just think that's a better team already. And if you look at trying to win games, of course, you have a better chance of winning the games in which Skubal pitches. But that's only 1 every 5 games. I think overall, you have the chance to win more games with those 5 players on your roster than without those 5 players on your roster with Skubal on your roster. So that's where my pitch kind of ends.
Yeah, we've been talking about this, pretty much, since the season ended, right?
Yeah.
Because the Tigers are definitely missing some pieces. We've said it, you've said it. And what's the best way to get some players that are going to be both playing now and prospects, right? Because the Tigers have done a really good job at developing their prospects too, right?
Much better than under previous like GMs and stuff, yes.
So when it comes down to it, that's a lot for one player, right?
Well, here's something else to consider. I haven't gone down this rabbit hole yet, but you'll have an influx of infielders. Okay, if you get Brett Beatty and you get a Jet Williams, then who do you like? You can only have 26 players in the active roster, right? So then who do you get rid of? Like, I think for infielders, you're talking about like Jace Young, Colt Keith, Hyu Lee, Zach McKinstry, Trey Sweeney, Spencer Torkelson, and Gleyber Torres. That's who we have right now, and that doesn't include like Veerling that didn't actually play because of injuries. Yeah, but he's coming back. Now, you could look at Veerling as an outfielder maybe, but he played previously in the infield. So like who do you look to get rid of? Maybe Trey Sweeney?
Yeah.
I don't know. McKinstry? This is where you have so many pieces that maybe you can then trade some of those excess pieces for, again, younger talent. Talent that's maybe not ready now, but an A-ball, high A-ball, something like that might come out in 3 more years. But that's how you keep your
farm system up.
Your farm system healthy. Yeah.
Yeah. Because, like I said, we think McGonigal's going to get a chance to make the team, right? And honestly, we're talking about skipping AAA altogether.
Yeah.
Because if he makes the team.
I think he'll get a chance, but I don't think he'll make it right off the get-go. I honestly don't.
All right.
Again, we talked about so much last year about how Major League pitching is so much different than even AAA pitching.
Correct.
Right? Like, it takes a lot of time to kind of adjust. So I don't think he's going to make it right off the get-go. If he does, then that'd be amazing. And I'm all for it, right? Like, if he proves he can do it, then he proves he can do it. I don't have a problem with that. I just don't think that he actually would right now. So, but he will get a chance sometime next year. There could be injuries. Injuries could get him a chance to go up to Major League level, you know? And even if he doesn't get a chance with injuries, that's going to leave at the end of the season a chance for him to get up there anyways, in the expanded rosters. So he'll get his chance sometime next year. I just don't think it'll be at the beginning. And Max Clark might also get his chance. So, and then
Because I assume both of those guys at minimum they're gonna start the year they'd be in AAA.
They'd probably start in AAA. That would be my guess.
Yep. Because they spent quite a bit of time in AA right at the end of the year, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I thought like it was at least mid-year. I thought where they got moved to AA, but
well, yeah.
So
let's see. They had. I'm looking at McGonigal just to get his the breakdown. He had in AA 48 games or 46 games in AA.
Okay.
Yep, with a 919 ops. So he kind of crushed it.
Yeah, he did.
So yeah, I can see him in AAA right at the beginning. But
yeah.
So that's my pitch. Now there's other teams out there. I've seen trade scenarios from the Cubs, the Dodgers, and just about everybody. I mean, Boston, Orioles, even. I've seen a bunch.
Mm-hmm.
But to me, the ones that make the most sense for both teams is the Mets. So like we were talking about how we have an influx of infielders, right? Especially like Jet Williams and Brett Beatty and stuff like that. But that's where the Mets are suffering right now, is they already have too many infielders on their team.
So trying to take some from them would not be that difficult because they've got replacement players.
The one player I think that could potentially nix the deal is Brett Beatty, because I think they want Brett Beatty to start for them. So that could be hard to peel away from them. But aside from Brett Beatty, I really think the other three players, I think they're fine with giving away those other three players. If I was the Mets, I know that's not a Mets show, but if I was the Mets, I'd be okay with it, personally. Yeah. And if they kept, but I think it's going to take at least 4 players to get Skubal. Yeah. And if they kept pushing, I mean, I'd dangle other people, like, I don't know, Nick Morbido maybe. I don't know. He's not a third baseman, but he could be a piece, is all I'm saying. I don't think he fits as good as Brett Beatty does. And there really isn't any other person I would look at for being able to play third base that we can trade for, pretty right away. So,
okay.
I don't know.
Well, it just, as you talk about it, to me, it makes absolute sense. It's financial sense, right, to make that trade.
So if we don't, what happens? We keep Skubal, and then the next option is we trade him before the trade deadline.
Yeah.
But what's going to happen that I don't think a lot of people are necessarily considering right now is there could be a work stoppage in 27, because the player's contract runs out at the end of 26. So when you're talking about 27, like, do they really, like, I don't think you're going to get full value for Skubal, because one, it's only half a year rental, right? That's one issue. Second issue is because it's the labor dispute, potential labor dispute.
And because we still have control, he's still under contract with us at least through next year, right?
At least through next year. Yep. And then he becomes an unrestricted free agent.
Unrestricted after next year.
So then if we keep him all the way through 26, offer him a qualifying offer, he's going to reject it. And then we'll get like a first round compensation. It'll be like, like it's the draft pick at the end of the first round, right? That's what we get in return. And then even if we do make a good pick, that's 4 or 5 seasons waiting for that guy to come in. When we can trade Skubal now and get 4 guys that can help us immediately.
Well, that's the thing. When you let players go to get to free agency, you're not getting anything.
No.
Right? That's why, you get what you can get for who you got. And if you can't get 4 players and you got to get 3, but they can play and they're in positions of need, okay, and then you still have money to bring in some free agents. Either way, I think it's a win-win for the Tigers.
Yes. So, look, we can then look into the future and look at 2027 free agents. Because if the Tigers don't sign any free agents now, right, that could still be free agents, and there's still that money left over for 2027.
Yeah.
And, maybe it's then they're going to want to, start spending, because then you'll be a lot closer to the times in which Max Clark, McGonigal, and all them guys are coming up into the Tigers. So I think that's what they're waiting for. I really do. And so that's this part. Like, a lot of people, some are baseball fans, some are not baseball fans. Football fans, they know when free agency is going to start, right? And they get all excited,
Yep.
But baseball doesn't have that same type of hype behind it. And because baseball's free agency period, it's not like the NFL, right? In the NFL, as soon as free agency gets started, boom, you got like 30, 40, 50 players signing immediately.
Yeah.
And it's just not that way for baseball. So With baseball, it usually, especially the bigger names, they kind of wait to see who signs where and for how much, kind of set the market. Plus, there could be some trades coming down, and trades then could increase their value with certain teams, and they might get a little bit more money, from these winter meetings. So it takes baseball is a little bit slower, just for
Yeah.
the big names to start signing. So it's not quite as exciting for a lot of sports fans, but this is a time to get excited because this is right now winter meetings is when stuff starts to happen.
Yeah. Well, these are well, you got all the guys together who got to make the decisions.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
So when you put them all in the same room, it's obviously a great time to talk about trading because you're like, hey, what would be your offer? Here's what we're looking for. Right. And
Exactly.
you're having a drink or you're eating dinner or whatever. Right. Because the NFL does it too. Right. They have their meetings, their off season meetings.
Yeah.
But that's not, they're talking more like rules, salary cap, player. I don't think they talk trades as much at those meetings as they do in baseball, right? It's going to come up like, hey, there's a free agent or you got a guy that's, we're looking for, right?
Yeah.
But I just don't think with because for a long time the NFL had that you couldn't tamper with players, right? You had to wait. You had to wait until that day, right?
Yep.
And now there's that
legal tampering period of like 3
legal
days or whatever.
Exactly. So, and that's where a lot gets done, right? And then big names typically go early in that sense,
Right.
because they go and set the market.
Yep.
But that's also, I think, it differs because of the salary cap, right?
Yeah.
It just because of that, it doesn't behoove players to wait for other players to set the market before them to go sign.
So the last bit of Tigers news that's come out so far that I wanted to talk about, and sorry, like I said, it's just my nose.
We're gonna get the cotton swabs and just shove them up your nose, and then you're gonna talk that way anyway.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. It's another pitcher that's being connected to the Tigers. Former Arizona Diamondback Zach Gallen. So Zach Gallen has been rumored to have mutual interest with the Tigers.
Mm-hmm.
So that's two starting pitchers, right? I mean, you got the MI from Japan and Zach Gallen right now. So I don't know. Like, Zach Gallen at one time was one of the best pitchers in the league. It was hard to say. Like, he's now 30, I think.
Right.
Maybe he's next season to be 31 or something like that. But he still has some stuff in the tank, and it really depends again on what length of contract he wants. I don't think the Tigers would balk at like a 4, maybe a 5-year deal, but I think they probably want to stay more in a 3 to 4 year range.
And I've said this before. They don't want to do a Miguel Cabrera, right?
Absolutely not.
And they're trying to learn from those mistakes. Now, if it were a guy, because Skubal's gonna be 30, or is he got 29 coming in next year?
Yeah, I forget exactly what, but yeah,
something like that, right?
Yeah.
If he's 26, maybe they do the 10 years, right?
Yeah,
because you're looking at the age difference,
correct.
Right? And this is how much am I truly going to get out of them during that time throughout the contract,
right? So, and then Ranger Suarez, the former starter from Philly, like he's another guy that has been connected. Not quite as much. I think it's more just rumored because of the Tigers needing starting pitching, right? But the thing is, both those pitchers, Suarez and Gallen and stuff like that, they both have a qualifying offer. So if Tigers sign them, they're going to lose. I believe it's going to be a 2nd-round draft pick. And I'll say this one more time. I said it last time. I'll say it again. Tyler Mahle is the guy that I would want. I still think that he is slept on. He had some injury history, but when healthy, I think he's pretty good. So if he's 31 years old, most recently with the Rangers, and I don't think that he's on the Tigers' radar. I'm just saying that if the Tigers, for some reason, maybe can't get Gallen, can't get Suarez, maybe they go and get Mahle, I'd be okay with that. He'll probably get injured sometime during the year, but look how many pitchers we lost anyways. Like that's going to happen. I think no matter who you sign. So
when who will be coming back from injury? So what was it? Reese Olson, right?
Yeah, Reese Olson's one.
It was the young guy,
Jackson Joe, but he probably won't come back till 27
because it was Tommy John, right?
Yeah, like there's a chance they can get him back towards the end of next year, but if they do, you can't really count on it because it's going to be a lot of rehab starts, short innings, stuff like that. Like he's not really
Yep.
going to be like a major contributor. But
And I know those were two of the bigger names from our starting rotation that we lost last year.
yeah, I mean, Reese Olson was throwing really well. Jackson Jobe, he had up and down stuff, but
I felt like he was
um,
getting better.
I felt exactly that's kind of what I felt like too.
Like every start, you saw something more improvement in what he was doing.
More consistency.
Correct. So yeah, it's so it sucks when, especially when you get a young guy who's just getting his shot, right? And then that happens. So
Well, and also as far as the Tigers go, I think because he didn't actually pitch enough to get a good look at him in the majors, you still don't know what you have with the guy.
right.
Now, you could sit there and look at it and say, yeah, we think it's going to be this, or because like of what you've seen. But again, you don't know because he didn't throw enough innings. Like you just don't know. But I mean, if you think about it though, if you get Imai, and let's say you get Zach Gallen, hypothetically, um, and you have Reese Olson, you got Casey Mize, you got Jack Flaherty. He's coming back for 1 year. And then, the year after that, you got Jackson Jobe. Like, that's not a bad starting rotation if everyone stays healthy.
Correct.
That's not bad.
No, not it's not bad at all. So
So, and then, again, you're looking at improving. Well, and then if they do make that trade with Skubal, you got Jonah Tong, right? Like, you have options. And I think if you do make that trade with the Mets and you get Dylan Ross with it, the reliever, if you go out and you sign a real closer, this is where I want to see the Tigers investing some money this year or next year. I want a true reliever. I want someone that's going to come in and shut down their best hitters 9 out of 10 times.
Because there were a lot of games that when we went to 7, 8, 9 and had our relievers come in, we'd lose the game, right? We couldn't close out the win, especially if it was close.
Yeah.
So yeah, having a closer or like a real guy, like just like you said, someone who's gonna strike people out, pop fly. We need outs to happen.
Yeah. Again, like we were talking about this scenario, guys second and third, 1 out. Yeah, you get the out with the pop fly, but it's also a sacrifice. They still get 1 run in, right?
Correct.
Like we need to close the door, slam it in their face.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah. So that's where I want to see them kind of spend some money, and I think that there's some closers to be had. I think it's possible. Anyway, I hope that I'm going to rephrase that. I do believe Skubal's going to be traded. It's just my gut feeling because I don't think that Scott Harris and his scouts and everyone else, if you get a package of 4 ready players right now and it frees up some salary cap room, moving on from Skubal because they can use that money for other players, it's hard for one player to make up the production of 6. I just keep going back to that. Like, you have to do what's best for the team. There's going to be a lot of unhappy fans for the Tigers, and I understand. You see your homegrown guys stay. But he's going to handicap the Tigers in the future with that long of a contract. And ultimately, you might just get too much in return for Skubal to keep him.
Yeah. The deal's just going to be too good to, like you said, it's just too good to keep and too good not to take.
Yes. So that's kind of my spiel on it. What do you think?
So I'm all about trying to build for the future, right? We've got a lot of young players already. We've already talked numerous times about we already got to make room for those players in the next 2-3 years, right? So that's kind of our window, right? We're looking at 2, 3, 4 years down the road as far as are we going to be competitive year after year at that point, right? So bringing in some guys that we're going to be able to have through that duration just makes more sense to me, right? And injuries happen so often. It's 162 games, right? You just having them on your roster, and moving them around, you got to have them. And I think getting more for that player, it's almost like trading for Ricky Waters and you just give up your whole draft, right? They get the one guy, but imagine what that team did with all those draft picks, right?
Uh-huh.
So in the end, that other team became better because of it, because of one player that they got rid of with all the players that they brought in. So I like having young players. I like bringing in young players. I like, you bring in the free agent, some veteran, somebody who's been around, someone who knows what it's like to win would be good, right?
Right.
So I think that's the focus. And I'm never attached to any player too much anymore because of, money talks and anybody can leave at any one point, right?
Right.
Now, it could be a Shohei Ohtani. It doesn't matter where you go. You're just going to love who Shohei Ohtani is, right? But that's not the case usually with every player.
Usually not.
Right? Because you like that player. He's on your team, right? But when he leaves that team, nobody rooted for Verlander. Nobody was rooting for Scherzer, right? When they left. We loved them when they were with us, right? And that's you just can't get attached to players. Bring in some new blood, get young, they're already young. But get what you can get out of the one player and just make it work, make a run.
Yeah, again, I think the important thing is to remember for any fans out there that's angry that I'm saying that trading Skubal is the best thing for the franchise. I don't think the Tigers are ready to win now. Like, you got to keep that in mind.
Yeah.
Like, the Tigers won't beat the Blue Jays. The Tigers will struggle with the Yankees. The Tigers will, and then you look at the National League. Well, they struggle with Seattle. And but National League, like, could they really beat the Dodgers? Like, I'm just saying, I just don't think that they're there yet.
Their own division they struggled with late in right?
Yeah. They historically blew one of the biggest leads.
Correct.
Yeah. And the question is, why do they do that? We know why they did that. They couldn't hit, right?
Correct.
They could not hit. So being able to then bring in players that could help them offensively. Like, it wasn't the pitching that cost them games.
No, not at all. It was the hitting that cost our pitchers wins.
And then relief pitchers, right?
Correct.
Like we had, yeah. But if we are able to shore up the relief pitching side, the bullpen, and then get some, like, that's when you're going to start looking at, like, yeah, we have our chance. This is when the window opens.
Mm-hmm.
Not because of one pitcher. You have to remember, we had Skubal and we lost.
Yeah.
So Skubal was not the man that changed it for us.
No.
We had him 2 years in a row for the playoffs and lost in the playoffs both times. And the problem is this, man, it's like, I can talk about this forever, but the problem is this. You're not going to go out and sign a bunch of high-priced free agents. One, the Tigers are cheap. But two, you have the younger guys ready in the next 1 or 2 years that's going to be those players in those positions. And if you sign a long-term contract with another player, you block them from coming into the league, right? So whereas Bo Bichette, I could probably see, because again, shortstop, different positions. We don't really have a for real shortstop yet. Bryce Rayner maybe can be that guy. But aside from that, right, like I don't think we're going to sign a third baseman. I don't think we're going to sign another second baseman because we already got Gleyber Torres in that spot. And that's going to be future McGonigal. I just don't see where they put big money into a player now where a younger player that's cheaper and team controlled in the next 2 years. So we're not ready yet. Like, we're not going to build around Skubal for 1 year. Like, that's the definition of like running your team into the ground. So for all Tigers fans out there, I'm sorry, but it's not going to happen. And it's not good for the franchise to do that if you know you're not going to sign him. And we know he's not going to be signed. So, okay. Any last words? I've been rambling for a while.
Nope. I think pretty much covered it.
Okay. Well, look, we got a lot that we got to talk about. We're coming up on Christmas. We're going to be reviewing some of the rumors and transactions occurring from the winter meetings. So just, if you haven't yet, subscribe so you don't miss those. And let us know what you think. I know it's controversial. There's a lot of takes with Skubal. But what do you think we should do with Skubal? And do you really think that the Tigers have the ability to re-sign him after this year? We're really interested in reading and responding and having, like a cordial discussion.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
Let us know.
Take care, everybody.
And with that, we'll talk to you guys later. We appreciate you listening. Everybody have a good one.
Good night.